What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, That Guy My High, tuning back in for one more reaction for the day. You dig what I'm saying? And we got another audit the audit. This one's Fearless Vet Stands Up to Unprofessional Cops. We'll see what goes down. I mean, I feel like the title's very self-explanatory. So, yeah, we'll see how that encounter all goes. Before we jump into that, we got to give a big shout out to all of the members of the channel. We got Epic Service, Jamal, Keith, Christy Poe, Funny Farm, Manly, Misty Summers, Sniper, Trey 420, Driver Thoughts, Ryan Parks, Kara, Marie, Carrie, Mr. Pay It Forward, Happy Chick, Lynn Willow, Holla Girl, Taylor, Holla Boy, Marla, Diesel, Nick, Creator the Insane, Nicole, Aaron, Mama Dukes, Robin Lynn, Amy Jane Doe, Liz, Nugget, My Hood Life, and Gary Willis. Gang, gang, gang. It's a whole lot of y'all. God dang. If y'all want to get a big shout out on all the videos and lives and all that good jazz, just like all the people I just shouted out, think about hitting that join button down below. Got 3 different options to choose from as cheap as $2.99 all the way up to $9.99. So, you know, super affordable for everybody. You dig what I'm saying? And if not, if that still doesn't fit your fancy, free 99 it is, then, you know, subscribe and bell notification, and there you go. Free 99 and you join the club. Anyways, let's go ahead and hit this video in full screen and let's go. Let's see what happens. Let's see how this plays out.
Welcome to Audit the Audit, where we sort out the who and what and the right and wrong of police interactions. This episode covers traffic stops, obstruction, and community caretaking, and is brought to us by Wright's Krispies channel. Be sure to check out the description below and give them the credit that they deserve. Before we dive into the interaction, I want to give a big thanks to the sponsor of this episode, Raycon. I've been using Raycon earbuds for years now, and over that...
Raycon. I need to get some new headphones. Might have to check those out.
Thanks again to Raycon for sponsoring this episode. On December 18, 2021, Deputy Carlos de Sousa Jr. of the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office in Florida pulled over local driver Ms. Boone for allegedly having an invalid license. Ms. Boone had been following her sister, Purple Heart combat veteran Ms. Shelley, who also pulled over about 50 feet ahead of the traffic stop. After both vehicles stopped, Deputy de Sousa approached the passenger side of Ms. Boone's vehicle.
Go! They can go!
That window doesn't open.
They need to leave.
Huh?
They...
My sister.
They're gonna leave.
For what? What am I being pulled over for?
161 Santa Rosa.
What's the issue, sir?
I'm gonna explain to you in a minute, ma'am.
Okay.
Wanna roll me another unit, no more response. I'm stopping you to see you. They're not to stop. They're not part of my traffic stop. Okay, let me finish.
Following her.
That's okay. She can pull up down the road and wait. She's not gonna stay here and wait. She's gonna leave. It's not open for conversation, debate. I'm dealing with one person. Ma'am, I'm dealing with one person. I'm not dealing with more than one.
She's not dealing with you. She's making.
She's staying right there.
Is okay.
Your safety is fine.
Anything illegal, right?
I promise you she is.
I'm trying to figure it out too. Like, why can't, like, she pulled over out of the way. She's, you know, not obstructing the officer. She hasn't got out of the car or anything. Like, she hasn't done anything, in my opinion, that, like, I guess warrants him to be super just, like, aggressive about this situation already. Like,
she's being told to leave because it's a traffic stop. Right now, this is something I'm doing. She needs to leave.
Deputy de Sousa claims that Ms. Shelley is not allowed to park her vehicle on the shoulder of the highway during a traffic stop and that she must leave immediately. Courts generally give police officers wide latitude to control traffic stop scenes and take actions they deem necessary to protect their safety. For instance, in the 1972 case of Colton versus Kentucky, the Supreme Court upheld a disorderly conduct conviction against a citizen who refused to leave a traffic stop when an individual he was traveling with was pulled over, holding that the police could require the citizen to move on, even though, quote, he was not trespassing or disobeying any traffic regulation himself. The court reasoned that, quote, the state has a legitimate interest in enforcing its traffic laws, and its officers were entitled to enforce them free from possible interference or interruption from bystanders, even those claiming a third-party interest in the transaction. Courts have reached similar conclusions in cases involving third parties filming traffic stops. For instance, in the 2014 case of Guerrica versus Begin, the First Circuit stated that, quote, the circumstances of some traffic stops might justify a safety measure, for example, a command that bystanders disperse, that would incidentally impact an individual's exercise of the First Amendment right to film. Such an order, even when directed at a person who is filming, may be appropriate for legitimate safety reasons. Likewise, in the 2012 case of ACLU of Illinois versus Alvarez, Perez, the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals concluded that, quote, "It goes without saying that the police may take all reasonable steps to maintain safety and control, secure crime scenes and accident sites, and protect the integrity and confidentiality of investigations. The police may order bystanders to disperse for reasons related to public safety and order and other legitimate law enforcement needs." Given the strong deference courts typically give to police orders given for officer safety, it is likely that a court would determine that Deputy D'Souza was within his authority to require Ms. Shelley to leave.
You're the owner of the vehicle, correct?
Yes.
Okay, can I see your license?
Sure.
I want them to go. That's all I'm trying to do. Is be able to go.
He's being very unprofessional.
Super unprofessional. I agree. I super agree
Hello.
with that.
Can you just go, please?
Well, that's my sister and my niece, so I'm just gonna stay here until
I
they're released.
need you to leave. If you can wait up there, I think.
It's a public road.
Okay,
I'm not obstructing traffic.
I'm asking. So you're obstructing this traffic stop. So can you just please?
How am I obstructing it,
Just
sir? I'm
there's a
finishing my-
parking lot up there. Please just go up there.
I'm going to make sure that my sister.
She'll be fine. She'll be fine.
I observe parking.
Okay, so now I am telling you. I'm not asking you. You need to go.
What law am I breaking?
I'm telling you. You need to go
asking you what-
because it's not safe for you to be here.
Why
Okay.
is it not safe?
Because.
to be here?
All right. Are we gonna play the? All right. Can I have your ID? Can I have your ID?
Am I being detained?
You are now.
What am I being detained?
Because now I need to identify you.
What am I being?
I need to identify you.
Deputy Crawford tells Ms. Shelley that she is being detained and is required to show her identification. Section 843.02 of the Florida statutes, which defines the offense of resisting an officer without violence, states that, quote, "Whoever shall resist, obstruct, or oppose any officer in the lawful execution of any legal duty without offering or doing violence to the person of the officer shall be guilty of a misdemeanor of the first degree." As the United States District Court in the Middle District of Florida explained in the 2005 case of Davis versus Williams, quote, "Florida courts have upheld convictions for violations of this statute where a person was arrested not only for yelling at officers, but for refusing to leave an area where the officers were engaged in a legal duty, and where the officers considered that person's physical presence to constitute an obstruction or impediment to the performance of their duty." In the Davis case, the court concluded that an officer had probable cause to arrest an individual who approached two deputies while they were conducting a traffic stop, spoke to them, and refused to leave after being told to do so at least 3 times. The officers argued that this, quote, "interfered with the traffic stop by not allowing them to complete the citation, by causing them to turn their backs on the driver, and by creating a situation that caused them concern for their safety." While Ms. Shelley remained in her vehicle, her presence arguably diverted the officer's attention and caused concerns for officer safety. So it is possible that a court would conclude that Ms. Shelley was resisting by refusing to leave. Under Section 901.151 of the Florida statutes, quote, "Whenever any law enforcement officer of this state encounters any person under circumstances which reasonably indicate that such person has committed, is committing, or is about to commit a violation of the criminal laws of this state, the officer may temporarily detain such person for the purpose of ascertaining the identity of the person temporarily detained." Therefore, if a court decided that Ms. Shelley was resisting by refusing to leave, it would likely also determine that Deputy Crawford was within his authority to identify her.
And if you refuse to, because you chose to stay in this situation, so now I want your ID. So now I want your ID. And if you refuse to give it to me, then we'll go sit in my car. Okay?
What law is that?
By not providing, you're failing to identify to a law enforcement officer. Okay?
But I have to identify if I'm being detained.
Yes, because you.
And you have to reason to the detain.
So listen, I'm not playing this game. I'm going to come over and we're going to get out of your car.
Oh man, this is
Sorry, you can call your sergeant.
You can get out of the car.
Call your sergeant. I would like a supervisor, please.
You can get out of the car right now, or I can help you out of the car. Or you can just give me your...
That's assault. Because I've not broken
It's not
the law.
assault. You're impeding this traffic stop.
how am I impeding
because
it,
it has
though?
nothing to do with you. I asked you to leave. You
The only
refused.
reason why I pulled over is because my sister does not know my new residence,
And I
she
told
got
you
pulled
you could go.
over.
And I told you could go wait up there in that parking lot. Okay, you both have cell phones.
What is the problem?
Because now you won't identify. First, you won't do a simple thing I asked you
I'm
to do.
telling you I'm her sister, and I know that that's what she has told him by now.
Okay, that has nothing to do with what's going on back there.
Okay, and I'm not interfering with you doing what you men have to do.
No, you are. By
I'm really
stopping here,
confused,
he
too.
does not want you here. Because now
Why?
because he has no idea what you're going to do. You don't think we dealt with situations where the person in this car
Sir,
all of a sudden...
I
don't know that.
Military.
I don't give a... I don't give a...
Whoa.
And now I'm getting mad because we have no idea what your intentions...
Okay, I will pull up, but I will be calling the police department. I would like your badge number.
I'll give you my card.
Please,
Okay?
please do.
I've been so nice. I gave you multiple opportunities.
You're cussing at me, and you're being
because I'm done with you.
rude.
Yeah.
So you want to cuss at me? I can cuss at you.
All day long. All day long.
That I have not been rude to you. I was sitting here.
And I have not until you started refusing. So I still need your ID.
I
need your ID.
What you
I need your ID.
me for, that's it.
I need your ID because you chose, because you're interfering with this. We don't want you here. It's not.
I will comply with your ID request, but you are not going about this correctly.
It's all on film.
Good. Hi, I'm glad.
And we'll see how it escalated to this because of your non-compliance.
No,
it did
bro,
not escalate because
Sure
of my
did.
non-compliance. I asked you questions, you refused to answer, and
I
you
did
are
answer.
supposed to answer them.
I don't need
You did not tell me what I was going to be detained for. You did not tell me why I needed to identify myself.
For failing to do what we asked you to do. So now you chose to be here. Now I need to make sure that we are safe.
I was doing absolutely nothing wrong, and I'm allowed to be on a public road.
You're not allowed to impede it.
I'm not impeding.
Because
I'm
you
sitting
stopped
in my
when I
vehicle.
stopped.
I didn't get out of my...
Oh, whoa.
Shut the door for your own safety. All right, fine. Do whatever you want.
Whoa.
I'm done with her.
Ms. Shelley eventually decides to give Deputy Crawford her ID, and as he turns to leave, he attempts to shut the door. Ms. Shelley prevents the door from closing, and Deputy Crawford briefly attempts to force her door closed, quote, for her own safety, end quote, before giving up and walking away. As the Supreme Court explained in the 1976 case of Katie versus Dombrowski, in addition to their duties to enforce the law, police officers also serve, quote, community caretaking functions, which allow them to take actions that are, quote, totally divorced from the detection, investigation, or acquisition of evidence relating to the violation of a criminal statute in order to protect citizens. A prime example of one of these functions is a welfare check, where an officer may take warrantless action, such as detaining an individual or entering their home to ensure their safety. As the First District Florida Court of Appeals recognized in the 2021 case of Taylor versus State, quote, welfare checks fall under the community caretaking doctrine, which recognizes the duty of police officers to ensure the safety and welfare of the citizenry at large. Under this judicially created doctrine, law enforcement actions that might otherwise violate the Fourth Amendment can be found lawful when they occur in connection with an officer's community caretaking functions. However, community caretaking does not give officers a free pass to violate the Fourth Amendment, and the Taylor Court explained that, quote, because searches and seizures conducted in connection with welfare checks are solely for safety reasons, the scope of an encounter associated with a welfare check is limited to prevent the exception from becoming an investigative tool that circumvents the Fourth Amendment. For example, in the 2016 case of State versus Fultz, the Second District Florida Court of Appeals held that, quote, given Central Florida's temperate weather in November, an open door at 8 o'clock in the morning, without more, cannot justify a warrantless entry based on a feared medical emergency or the community caretaker function. If Deputy Crawford was truly attempting to close the door out of concern for Ms. Shelley's safety, his conduct was likely a valid exercise of community caretaking. However, Ms. Shelley was also within her rights to prevent the door from closing and keep it open.
Yeah, this shit is wild, bro. I just like he just got super aggressive and overly done about
Hello, ma'am.
her asking the questions, bro. Like,
Hello, ma'am. I'm Sergeant Nix.
Hi, Sergeant.
So I watched the interaction. So from the start, you aren't allowed to be stopped here. If you are interfering with any kind of investigation, you can be detained at that point too and identified as a person. You cannot just stop on the side of the road because somebody else stopped, even if you know her sister, brother, son. You can't do that.
Sergeant Nix approached Ms. Shelley's vehicle, cordially explained the deputy's reason for ordering her to leave, gave her a business card, and informed her of the process for filing a complaint. He also briefly conversed with Ms. Boone and assured her that the body camera footage would be reviewed. Although Ms. Boone was not allowed to drive her vehicle, the traffic stop ended without anyone being arrested. After footage of the incident was circulated on YouTube, Sheriff Bob Johnson of the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office issued a statement apologizing for Deputy D'Souza and Deputy Crawford's behavior and assuring that they would be punished and extensively retrained. Because of this incident, both deputies were ordered to complete 4 40-hour courses for a total of 160 hours of paid training, focusing on how to handle traffic stops. Deputy Crawford will also be required to take an additional class on professionalism and dealing with citizens. Overall, the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's deputies get a B-, because although they were likely within their authority to order Ms. Shelley to leave the scene and detain and identify her for refusing, they failed to properly de-escalate the situation, maintained a rude and unprofessional demeanor, and improperly invoked the community caretaking function of their authority. There is no denying that the deputies were right about the legality of their orders to leave and their authority to detain and identify Ms. Shelley. And there is a legitimate argument to be made that the deputies could have lawfully arrested her. All that said, just because an officer's conduct is lawful doesn't necessarily mean that it is ethical, logical, or productive. Rather than engaging in a heated debate with Ms. Shelley and ultimately forcing her to comply under threat of arrest, one of the deputies could have simply stood by her vehicle to ensure that she was not a threat, as another deputy carried out the traffic stop, which is ultimately what they decided to do anyway. Unfortunately for members of law enforcement, dealing with angry and frustrating citizens is a major aspect of their duties, and possessing the ability to maintain a professional attitude in any given scenario is a necessary skill that all officers must develop in order to establish and cultivate a positive relationship with their community. As mentioned earlier, the courts often grant officers a considerable degree of leniency to do whatever is necessary to ensure their safety while operating within the bounds of their authority and the law. And just as this discretionary power can be used to issue commands and compel identification, it can also be used to establish positive relationships and mutual compromise. Ms. Shelley also gets a B-, because although it is clear that Ms. Shelley lacked a thorough understanding of the laws relevant to this interaction, she remained calm and collected throughout the encounter, rightfully questioned the conduct of Deputy Crawford, and followed up this interaction with the proper channel of complaint. As mentioned on many episodes of ATA, it is unreasonable to expect every citizen in the United States to possess a deep understanding of the legal nuance surrounding public property, free speech, and civilian rights in general. Ms. Shelley was not a First Amendment auditor, and the questions that she was attempting to ask Deputy Crawford were legitimate and essential to the circumstances at hand. Instead of taking the time to explain himself or provide any useful information to Ms. Shelley, Deputy Crawford simply operated on the logic that he's a police officer issuing a lawful order that must be obeyed. While I commend Ms. Shelley for having the courage to stand up for her rights and the diligence to follow up this encounter, I would caution citizens in a similar position to invoke their right to remain silent and comply with the commands of the officers. Regardless of the attitude of the deputies, Ms. Shelley likely could have been lawfully arrested for obstruction by refusing to leave the scene or move in any capacity. As mentioned in many episodes of ATA, it is much more productive to fight your battle against injustice within the courtroom, not on the street. Let us know if there is an interaction or legal topic you would like us to discuss in the...
That's real shit. But man, that was wild. That was one of them ones where it was like, it made sense, like you understood, but then you just, it stopped making sense when they stopped or refused to answer any questions that were relevant. They got aggressive and like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is wild. That was a very interesting, like, just situation in general. But y'all let me know what you thought about that down in the comments below. I'm going to catch you on the next one. Peace.